So what's up, folks? We are back again, man. It's so blissful, exhilarating, man. Having this kind of stuff, okay? Especially when it's something you have dreamed of and all your life, and you are actually doing it is something fun. Okay, for today we don't have fruit drink stuff. Okay, but tomorrow in the live stream, and the fruit drink will be available tomorrow. Okay, we'll shoot that in the live stream. Okay, it's very very fun and interesting. Okay, so now we have our podcast quotes right now, and for today, so our guest, introduction to our guest, the guest we are having today is Patrick Pejetavwo by name, and he's a lover of computers and also into programming, Bitcoin, and other things. Okay, he's a self-development oriented individual, and it's always fun talking with him. Okay, it's always fun doing so. So, and if you are watching for the first time, make sure you consider hitting the subscribe button. And to those who are not familiar with our podcast, this is what we do. You can check our channel so you get used to it. Okay, and that is just it. Everything you see started from something new, and sometimes you have to pay attention to making something used to a particular set of people. Sometimes that's what you have to do. So so that's just it. So check our channel to see past our previous episodes of the podcast, so you watch and understand better what we do. Okay, but watching this alone will help you understand. Okay, it's fun. Okay, just for self development. So right now we have some quotes. Right now we usually do this podcast quotes. We have 5 quotes right now. The first one we have is Albert Dunning said, "Great opportunities come to all, but many do not know that they have met them. The only preparation to take the only preparation to take advantage of them is to watch what each day brings." Okay? 2. The most important thing in our lives is what we are doing now. 3. The lessons which life repeats and constantly reinforces is look under foot. You are always nearer than you think. 4. Many spend too much time dreaming of the future, never realizing that a little of it arrives every day. 5. Every day comes bearing its own gifts. So, untie the ribbons. Okay, so that is it right now. And look at the quotes right now for today's show. We're starting right now. Look at the quotes right now, and that's so interesting. Exactly the one I really want to emphasize is this one that the third one that says the lessons which life repeats and constantly reinforces is look under your foot. You are always nearer than you think. Many people don't realize this. You're always nearer than you think. Your brain will always over exaggerate or underestimate who you are all the time. So accept that fact. Okay, so you are closer than you think you are. For instance, if you look at something with a mirror or a concave lens, you always see the object closer than it is, okay, or farther than it is. Okay, that is it. So when you're on that lens, you're not actually seeing what is really happening. And we have lens in our eyes. So what if we are not actually seeing the exact points we are? We are actually making more progress than we think we are actually doing. So understand these facts, okay? So we're going right now to the show. So Patrick, right now, the first question we have for you is this. This is, are we living in a simulation? Hypothesis talk, hypothesis argument, and the simulation argument. This is part 2, and of the show. Part 1 is already on our channel. Just check there. You see our channels. Recently we just do podcast, meditation podcast. So just check there. You easily find them out. Okay, so is life a dream reaction? Let's start from there.
Life is a reaction. I don't probably think, like, I don't see any direct evidence linking that our lives are like a reaction to our dreams exactly. But probably, if we are talking of, let's say, the simulation hypothesis, and probably means that we are living in someone else's consciousness, that there is this higher being, and our whole existence is just that person's, that being's consciousness, so to say. So probably our dreams, if you say if you're asking dreams, dreams, probably when we dream and then say later the dream comes true, like are those dreams like are they evidence of the simulation hypothesis? I think probably they could be visions from this higher being towards about what may happen. But for me, I don't really draw the connection because if you are living in a hypothesis,
Yeah.
probably you will not really want like if you create a hypothesis like a simulation, for example,
Yeah.
you will not really want like the characters in that simulation to like have well, I put it like unless probably you want to give them an advantage or probably give them insight into something like help that particular character. I don't see why you would want to give a character in a simulation like a vision of what is going to happen in the future. So probably the dreams could be like a vision in a way to help also to help that particular character in this particular simulation, like sort of a heads up something like okay, this is what might happen or this is what's going to happen, that sort of thing.
Wow. Wow. That's true. That's true. Mm. In a simulation, the creators won't like just give the future to the people to the should I say the being they're trying to simulate. They won't just give the future to them like that. Okay, we will come back to dreams because dream is really something that we have to understand. If we want to know whether or not we are in a simulation, we have to know what happens in our dreams because sometimes dreams play out like something like dreams are just like a mirror of the future sometimes. Why sometimes they are just normal things, but sometimes they are not. Okay, if you check even in the Bible, um, many of them had like God, they were communicated by God, or they communicate. God communicated with them or to them through dreams, usually about their future. And if you check most of them, it played exactly that way. The Bible is trying to tell us that we are created by God, right? Which is wait, let's talk about that. The Bible telling us that we are created by God. Is it like a simulation suggestion to us?
For me, not really. Probably it could do be because I think again know that God created, let's say according to the Bible, God created
Yeah,
heaven and earth,
yeah,
but He separated both of them. So probably people in heaven cannot experience what is happening on earth, and earth cannot experience what is happening in heaven. And by definition, heaven is watching earth. So let's say earth now is the stimulation, earth is where the stimulation is taking place. Then heaven is, let's say, where the stimulation is being watched, like it's being, how would I put it? Like that is where the main the being, yeah, God being the universal being, and that is where he's now watching the stimulation happening on earth from. So
uh,
yes, I think that human beings, when I said human beings were created by God, I think yes, probably yes, it's like it's referring, alluding to the fact that yes, we are on earth, like because of its stimulation for human beings. I think probably God is trying to see how we will perform here on earth.
okay. Okay, that's it from the Bible. Bible sharing, like that's just what it say right now. So we will come back to dreams. Always, we'll discuss more about that. And prepare, Patrick. You gotta give us an answer. Does the mind really exist? If I can't see my mind, then does it really exist? We will talk about that. Okay. So, and was when we study who we are, we might be able to tell if we're in a simulation. Okay, for every word you say or for everything you touch, there's likely going to be a feeling that is attached to that thing. When we talk about simulation or God, there's a feeling people attach to that word God. So if this feeling like is there to shut down your brain from thinking further, then you are just lost. Because this idea called God, like the description the Bible gives, okay, many people because of that description, their brains just shut down. They're no longer thinking further. We are here for exploration. Okay, their brains just shut down. So in this podcast, we are going to really probably clear those feelings. Okay, and let's treat the idea without any feeling. That's just what we're gonna do. Okay, so let's go further right now. Now, okay, what are dreams and how do they appear accurate sometimes? How is it possible? Do you have any way, like, why, like, how do dreams appear accurate sometimes? How?
I think dreams according different people have different theories for why we dream and how we dream. But basically, what the most popular one they say, according to some people, that our minds is just like dreams are like screensavers, so that our mind does not shut down while we sleep. So some say that our mind is just taking different snapshots from different experiences that we have had, and it's just trying to tie them together to create a story just to keep our minds like active but not too active, so that probably our brain does not shut down, so
Mm,
to say. Or some say that dreams are like a portal by which we experience our lives in the multiverse, that is ourselves, that is, we can experience our lives in probably other universes or probably other simulations separate from our own. But again, for me, I would likely go with the first explanation, where dreams are just our mind making up things just to keep itself busy while we are asleep. But the thing is that nobody can really explain what the mind is, or let's say what the mind really serves, like our consciousness, our mind.
okay, so we were discussing what are dreams and why they are accurate. So you can go on.
Okay. So as I was saying, I think from one paper that I was reading about the hypothesis theory, when they were speaking of the mind, they say that there are only two explanations for our consciousness of our mind. First is probably our mind is there for a reason that we have not found out, or our mind is just to experience whatever, like just to have an interaction with our environment, and try to draw up this personalized experience for probably the being that created the whole universe, or that made this our simulation possible, like through our own eyes. Like I explained, I think there was one podcast where we talked about people having different unique experiences.
Yeah.
So according to this paper or this theory that they're putting for, they say that we are having different experiences, like in a way, so as to give, so that the creator of our simulation can
Yeah.
now try to see through our own mind, like to grasp what is actually happening through like tools. Just they are looking through our own lens, like in the way as to inform you, okay, this is what this particular person is actually experiencing. But again, if you look at it, our mind is not really of any, like there's no real use, like there's no real advantage of our consciousness, there's no real advantage of consciousness to humanity.
There's no real advantage. Like, can you explain that? Network. Okay, go on. You said consciousness have no
Okay.
advantage. Can you talk more on that?
If you notice, we being conscious does not really give us like a competitive edge over species in our environment or over anything. Like probably the mind is just there as a form of, and I put it, like a spectator, just to look at, or just to try to interpret whatever we are feeling, or whatever, like to just get grasp and get an experience of what is just happening to us. The mind does not really offer us solutions, or and like it does not offer us, and there's no utility for the mind, like in our everyday lives. Just there just to gather experience in the background.
Okay. So that's why you said like it's not really to any advantage. And from what you said,
Yes.
that's really enough. And so then why is the mind there if there's nothing it does? And that really gives us a better advantage. Like then why is it there?
Well, according to the papers I read, they said
Yeah.
that the mind is there just to like that experience that we get is just like how would I put it? Just like an output based on our feeling. Like you know that again, the reason why typically simulations are run is that you want to get feedback from every particular entity in that simulation.
Yeah.
So, according to the paper, they say that our mind, that experience that our mind gathers in the background, that
Yeah.
is the feedback for the creator of our simulation.
Okay. Okay. So does it mean the mind is connected to the higher being?
That is what they are saying now. Like the mind is just like this output, like the output machine. That is where the higher being
Okay.
gets the
That's where
results
it
from
reads what is
our lives
happening.
and our experiences. So to say,
Okay. I understand. So the mind, let me get you clearly. Correct me where I'm wrong. You are trying to say that from the papers, the mind is just like a screen, computer screen. And just like you probably
yes,
see display things display in the screen, and you have someone actually looking at them. That's how the higher being is looking at the screen, which is representing the minds of people, right? To know what's happening, isn't it? Or am I not correct?
yes, you are correct.
Okay, so that is just it right now. So that's really funny. That's really funny. So we gave in the last show. Patrick, can you we have this? You have defined what simulation is. Okay, but to those who have not watched the past one, to those that are not our subscribers who are just bump this video, who are just bumping into this video, just watching it for the first time. So, Patrick, can you define simulation? You defined it already for the past, the first part one of the simulation hypothesis on our channel, podcast two like this. You can go watch it, okay? Just access our channels, you see videos there. You can watch, they are all similar videos, podcast, meditation. So you will understand them. So now, can you define simulation again to the people who have not watched the first part? What is simulation?
So, so there are multiple definitions for simulations, but in a way they are still related. So basically, a simulation is just running a a model of something just to see how it performs in the real world. Like probably during if you want to make a car or probably a plane or a robot,
Yeah.
like they run simulations just to get results based on how certain features or certain parts of that car will work in a particular environment. So that is basically what the whole definition of a simulation is like. You are just running a model just to see how all the different characters or different entities that you place in that model, how they interact with each other and with the various environments around them.
Wow. So basically in a simulation, you don't know what will happen. You creating it don't know what will happen, but you have some clue. But you don't know what exactly will happen. So that's something we're talking about today. He's trying to talk to us about something like that. His life is something like that. Somebody is running the simulation, and the person himself does not know what will happen, but probably has a clue of what might happen. Okay, so that is the talk. Okay, so
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, so let's go to the third question. We have okay, you're back, right? Network is disturbing, so permit that. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so now what is a simulation? And more talk on how likely we are in a simulation from NDEs received. You know what NDEs are? NDEs are near death experiences. There are so many people who want to die. They give description of what they see. Okay, I think that if we really study NDEs, we might really know what will happen after death. Okay, if we really pay attention to that. So now, can you talk to us about that right now? Now, what is simulation? and you have defined simulation already first, right? First. Then the second we talked to us about right now is NDEs, near death experiences. From the ones we have received this year, 2022, what do you have to say about the old stuff? Do you have any near death experience, or you have someone who have or you've read a paper, this and that? Just talk to us about NDE. That's what we want to talk about right now. Near death experiences of people, and let's discuss that so we know if it tallies with the simulation hypothesis. So we know if we are likely by chance in a simulation. So that is the talk.
So basically, near-death experiences, I think there are certain things that people say they feel when they have these near-death experiences. Some have this out-of-body experience where they feel like their soul is out of their body. Some
Yeah.
say that okay, that probably their lives, whole lives, flash before them, or
Mm,
maybe they see some particular person or like an angel or
yeah.
some like they just see some form of so like some god or something like that.
Yeah.
So probably near-death experiences for me are like two of my own personal theories that I have is that one is probably one supports the hypothesis simulation theory, then the other is probably near-death experiences are because again when most of these people have these near-death
Mm,
experiences, it's probably they are about to die, like probably are going through a lot of pain at a particular point.
mm,
So for me, one, it could either be like a defense mechanism of our mind, like to feel free ourselves from pain. Because again, another thing that most people say they experience when they're having this ND is that you just feel this sudden relief from
mhm,
pain. So for me, one of my own theories is that probably these near-death experiences could be a way of our mind just trying to tune out the pain, like a form of defense mechanism in our brain. Or two, according to accounts by some people that said they have had these near-death experiences,
mm,
they say that they see God or probably they see angels or they don't see any other being. So
yeah.
again, that if they see those beings, it could also that second one would now support the simulation hypothesis. But
Wow.
again, they don't really just again they don't really go into detail about what they really saw. They just stop it at okay. We just when I feel I had this out of body experience,
Mm.
I felt this sudden relief from pain. Then probably I saw this particular being, or whether God or angels or it could be anything.
Yeah.
So probably this second theory that could support the hypothesis theory, but why they see that those beings when they're having near death experiences, I don't really know since I have never had one.
You have to be in it first before you know. That's it.
Exactly.
So like let's discuss. Do you believe in magic? Magic.
Magic.
Yeah.
For me, I do believe in magic to some extent. Like I know that there are forces in the universe that other things. Again, I don't like just to doubt things like that, but I think I do believe. But there's many. There have not yet seen like something happening in my face. I'm just
Mm.
leaving my mind open to probably be convinced of something like that. But I have not had like a probably my front somebody made something disappear or appear or things like that. I'm just being open minded because I don't really know
What
what
is
is
going
going out,
on?
what is going on in the world.
Okay, okay. But we live in Nigeria, and you see different people
Yes.
see different things. Like you see somehow proof of magic if you are in Nigeria. I hate to talk about this, but I just have to bring it in right now. Now, for this thing courtists use, these quarter bands,
Hmm.
when it cuts you, it doesn't go
Okay.
through. Like, is that magic? I would say that is not magic in a way. I'm talking so you have more time to think about what you want to say. Like, I would say it is not magic in a way. Then how we say it is magic in a way? Why I say it is not magic is what is not magic or what is magic. Sometimes what we call magic is something that we just don't have explanation to. So probably we have not given it much thought. or consideration. So now, what if we studied this, let's say counterbalance right now, where you cut someone does not go through. What if we actually study it? What if there's a science behind it? What if there's something that goes through the skin to actually make it tough? When you have cells in a medium, in a culture medium, you want to culture cells. Now, if cells die, you have to fix them. Okay, you use osmium, I think osmium tetraoxide, mercury 2 chloride, I think so. Those are the chemicals you can use in fixing tissues, cells. That's why when tissues die or when humans die, they have to fix the cells immediately, fix the tissues so that it won't decay. Okay, when someone dies, the first part of the person that decays, I think, is the brain, then the kidneys, something like that. So now they use all these chemicals, osmium tetraoxide, mercury chloride. Those are the chemicals they use in fixing bodies, dead bodies. So now the question now is this right now: what if this shutabo cotton bans? What if it is actually there's a science behind it? And what if when they put whatsoever they use in making it, because it is something that they do physical thing to make it, right? So now what if all these things form a protective layers in the skin or probably like that? I don't really know. So that's the first part. Then the second part is I'm saying it is magic. Because like how how on this planet is something like that real? How? And why is it not universal? If it is really real, then why is it not universal? Why is it only in our region? That's why I'm saying it's somehow magic. So what do you have to say about these things going on in our societies today, and how likely they are pointing to us in the direction of the simulation or in a different direction? Just talk about it.
Okay, I guess your two points are really valid because again, when they try to make most of all these champs there,
Yeah.
I think they immerse
Yeah.
most of the people that want them into some boiling liquid or something like that
Yeah.
for I think sometimes for several days or for several hours. So probably it could be most of those chemicals that went to their bodies in a way and reinforce them. But the thing is that most of these particular chemicals they come from plants that is normal plants that are
Yes.
boiled and then
Yes.
they are just normal herbs that they cook
Yeah.
and then just bait the person in them. So in a way your second point now that's where your second point now even makes it more sense because you'll still be mad because these are just ordinary herbs and
Yes.
how is it likely that those things can
Ah.
give
Yeah.
somebody that sort of resistance to damage or
Yeah.
anything like that. Like, how can ordinary herbs just form a shield
Yeah. Okay.
that bullets or probably things can just bounce off or bounce off? So again, I think your 2 points are valid, but I think the second one now, the second point where it points to the existence of magic, I think is probably much more reasonable still because ordinary herbs, these are just local
Ah.
herbs that you just find in the bush. It's not like there's
Yeah.
this chemical combination for
Mm.
the top secret something that just
Yeah.
again, like I said, I'm open to like being convinced about the existence of magic, but again, because again, these things like there is no natural law really explaining this particular phenomenon
Yeah.
that we are experiencing here in Nigeria.
Yeah. Okay. That's really good right now. But Patrick, right now, like accepting all these things sometimes make the world or Nigeria appear dirty to you. So now, to the mind who is asking right now, Nigeria looks dirty to me in my mind. Why? Because of all these things they go through, the people you see around, they are not inspiring, they're not trying to be the best they can be. They are just like majority of people, like 40% are just stupid. Like I wrote something on Punch. I said like 60% of Nigerians don't think. 20% are into one illegal stuff or the other. Another 20% into one thing or the other. So, like that is a fact. That's a simple truth. There is how to test it. Walk in the street right now. Just move, walk down the street right now, and just gather like 100 individuals. The possibility that you will have 10 people who make sense about their life and why they are here is very very slim. That is very very slim. So sometimes
I
it
think
is
the
so
problem is that
overwhelming. Go on.
what I want to say is that the problem is that here in Nigeria, people are not really encouraged to think. Like
Ah,
thinking in Nigeria is generally frowned upon. But the thing is that is when you start to think about certain things, certain experience, certain facts or certain things, that's when you can now begin to separate what is actually true or what is not, or what you
yes.
need to find or what you have lost, things like that. But here in Nigeria, it's just not
Sir.
like people. If you tell somebody that you are thinking about something, for Nigerians, thinking just means probably you are mourning over like
Yeah.
a loss or probably
Yes.
something
Yes.
failed, you are a failure, something like that. So for them, they don't. Nigerians don't really. We, I don't think Nigerians even engage in philosophy at
They
all. Like
don't.
we don't just try to move beyond the bounds of what is
Ah.
happening in our society. Our minds are just tied to the society that is the. And again, is when our minds evolve. That is when our society will evolve.
Oh, that's
But first,
beautiful.
people are not seeing the reason why
That's beautiful.
our mind should evolve in the first place. They
Yeah.
just feel like, okay, everything is happening now, like things are just working. Nobody's seeing
Mm.
where things could be better or how could be better. They just feel like, okay, this is how things are made to be, and nobody's just trying to change the norm situation at hand.
That's really really fantastic. These words are really powerful. Really really powerful. Like that's in Nigeria. That's the major problem. It makes the society suck. To me, it makes the society like I just hate the society to me. Not the land per se. The land is a perfect place. It's good, just like everywhere else. The land is okay, but the people make society what it is. The minds of the people make society what it is. But here over here right now, you have people not thinking. The last podcast you said pause and think. Can always catch your breath, right? I applied that
Yeah.
principle to my business and I saw real changes. I mean changes. Like something happened and I was just like to react very fast to the thing. I just brought myself down for just 3 minutes. I wanted to I was so compelled to react immediately. But I just switched off the phone 3 minutes away. I just took 3 minutes break off my what I was doing. When I came back, I reacted in a different way. So you see it right now. So and other things too that I experienced during the week. Like I always try to make myself, hey, stay down. Let's think about this. Why if I see myself pressurized, I ask myself why is this pressure here? Like why? I get to know why. I get to think. Over here in Nigeria, people are not encouraged to think. And worst of all, what is breaking me the most is these students. Okay, the students who ought to even possess this quality, but they don't even possess it. So then, how can our future be even bright? How can the future of the land be bright? There's no quality interpretation to things. There's no quality explanation to what is going on. What could things? What the meaning of things? No quality interpretation. No quality explanation. No solution being given. Without thinking, how can solution come out? There's no solution. Nothing. Nothing. That's why every field in Nigeria is likely not developed, likely underdeveloped. Go and study a particular course, like likely underdeveloped. If the areas in our school, let's go to the school system, okay? Now, in our schools today,
Yeah.
like if different areas were developed, children won't have issues because when they come into the course right now, they want to study a particular course. If that area has been developed, like they won't have issues. They will know why they have to be there, and they will know if they don't have to be there. They will see different quality due to the quality interpretation or the quality use of the knowledge of people who have studied that course will help the next ones who are coming to better handle things. But over here in Nigeria, nothing like that. That's why every field in Nigeria, especially for courses, school, is usually underdeveloped. People may check the code, go to different departments in school. You see people who don't know why they are doing what they are doing there. You see people who don't just know why. Why? Because no men to think, no men to solve pre-existing problems, no men. So what are we all doing? So what would you advise me right now? I look in the world like I say, Nigeria is a fantastic place to live in, but the people make me sick of it. What would you advise us? If I or others and I are thinking this way, what would you advise us? What do you think is the solution?
Then
Is parenting a factor here?
the key thing, one of the most important key fact
Yeah,
or the centerpiece of anybody that wants to grow
yeah,
is just simply having that passion or the urge to grow. Because again, when something wants to grow, it must not have all the resources at hand.
yeah,
Is that your passion now that will drive you out to go and find everything that you need to
yeah.
grow? But again, many people lack this driving force to begin with. So most of them they have what they have is very little. They don't really go far, or some don't even start at all. Some don't. That driving force to drive us to
Thing.
improve, to push forward
It's
is
not
lacking
there.
in a lot of people. So I
Sure.
think that if that's it, if just that, if you can
If
get enough driving force there, like that driving force will push you to learn, will push you after you finish learning, will push you to make. After you finish making, it will push you to improve. So I think again the most crucial thing that anybody needs is just to get that driving force, like inspire yourself or talk yourself or whatever, however you want to do it. Just find a way to get that driving force because that is the thing. That is what
yeah,
will actually push you out there to go and get all the knowledge that you need to do whatever you want to do. Because if you are waiting that okay, when I have the knowledge, I will do this thing, you won't. The driving force must be there. The driving force that will make like once you hit a problem or you hit an obstacle, that same driving force that will still try to push you even when the odds are against you, like that force to try to push you, like to find out the solutions or find out how you can clear that obstacle from your way. That driving force, I think that is what everybody or any place that needs to improve, that is what they need. I think that is one thing that America has and
yes,
even Britain has that driving force. There's always
yeah,
this
yes,
spirit
motivation.
for them to push on,
Yeah,
like to go beyond the bounds of what is
yes,
already possible. Again, if
yes.
you look at how most people think about all those advanced countries is that they just feel like they just became
Advanced.
that way all of a sudden
Yes,
that they did not really put in any work or they not or it's just like they were gifted
yes,
by birth to just be great like that. But it's not true. The thing is that they always have this driving force that is pushing them to test the
yes.
boundaries of what is possible and what is not possible. Because again, it's not everything that is possible, but
Mm,
you don't know what is and what isn't.
yeah.
That's why you need to have the passion to go out there and get okay, why is this thing happening? How can I do that? How can I make that better? You need that force, and I think that is something that only you can cultivate in yourself.
Okay,
There is
okay,
nobody that can really inspire you. You need to cultivate that thing in yourself.
okay. So that's really fantastic. Before we come back, please, if you're watching, just enjoy yourself. Okay. Before we come back, we want to deal with these issues first in our country. We will come back to the simulation stuff. We still have enough questions here to talk about. Now let's talk about this stuff, right? Because this is really, should I say, pre-existing problem in Nigeria. Like when you wake up in the morning, if you are in almost in every environment in Nigeria, you will usually find the rough people there who are actually not ready to just live life. They're just looking for a means they can die. They don't want to kill themselves, they're just looking for a means they can die. So they usually engage in rough behaviors and that. When you wake up in the morning and you go out there and for the first 7 years of life, you must have been programmed, right? Hypnosis, period of hypnosis, where your brain is in a very low brain wave state. So whatever your brain sees, it just captures. Now, scientists say that up till now, we are still being programmed by what we watch, what we see, what we hear all the time. That we are still being programmed. So now, what if you wake up in the morning right now and you just wake up in the morning, you just go out there and you still see such individuals outside all the time? Like, seeing them is not a good thing. If you can just change what you see, it can really, really be helpful. So now, what would you advise a person right now who doesn't know or who did not know about this subconscious programming and how what you see can actually program you to live a particular life? So now, what would you advise them right now? How can they overcome this thing right now? Like, what they wake up in the morning, they go out there and they just see these rough people here and there, and to them, if they are not careful, then their brain starts to tell them this is how the world is. If the world is good, then why are these people like this? And stuff like that start to come into your life. So right now, what would you advise social individuals?
the only way for you to break out of that whole chaos is for you to begin, like I said, I think the greatest gift that you can actually or give, the best one that you can actually get is to have clear sight. That is to be able to look at situations clearly and be able to draw out good or clear conclusions based on
Yeah.
what you see. I think if you can see that in anything that you're trying to solve, I don't think anything can stop you. That probably you're trying to or solve a particular problem and you are able to see where the true cause of the problem is, and probably you can see the whole thing that is happening well.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
that is an
Yes.
unmatched superpower.
Yes.
So the only way for you,
Let me just bring this part out. He said if you can
the
see
only
the
way for
true
you to really
cause of the problem, get that clear. If you can see the true cause of the problem, the reason why they are stupid, if you can see the true cause, then you are out of the mess. So you can go on.
And the only way that you can really break out of that whole chaos where you are being subconsciously programmed is that you need to be conscious again to fight that subconscious thing. The reason
Yeah.
why most people are just being subconsciously programmed is that they are not really thinking for themselves. They
Yeah.
just probably get hear a word from this person, they just accept it. They hear it now from now on, they accept it. They are just simply taking as much as they can, just absorbing every single thing that they hear. The only way for you to now say, okay, I want to break out of that cycle, you now need to start analyzing all these particular things that you hear consciously to see if they actually make sense or if they are actually reasonable or not. I think that is the only way you can actually break out of that thing. Because even if it's again it's a decision that you yourself have to make. Because somebody, if probably you hear a lot of bad things or you have accepted a lot of wrong things, even
Yeah.
if somebody now comes to you and tries to give you the right answers,
You see it
if you
as
are not
well.
ready to accept them, you will not accept them.
Yeah.
That is a fact. So the only way for you to really break out of this whole cycle of being subconsciously programmed by our society is that you need to now start analyzing every single thing that you are hearing as they are coming consciously to see, okay, what are the implications of this one, or probably what are the benefits. Like you are looking at every decision that you are going to make, or let's say like use a decision based thinking where you see, like based on every information you hear, you ask yourself, if I act on this information,
Yeah.
what would be the consequences or what would be the benefits? I think that is the only way for you to now weed out which ones will actually have devastating impacts or which one will actually now benefit you. And again, it's the ones that you can continue this form of thinking. Your mind there, you get to this stage where you can now separate the weight from the chaff consistently. So if people, I don't think me again, I can just be subconsciously programmed because everything that I hear, I again, for me, I'm this sort of person where I take every piece of information I get with this grain of salt. Not that
Yeah.
I doubt,
Yeah.
like probably maybe this thing is happening somewhere, or for me, probably I have never experienced that thing, and I don't know if it has happened or if it can ever happen. But I still did, like I said, when we were speaking about magic, because I said I always have this open mind, but the open mind does not mean that I just accept the thing
Yeah.
fully.
Yeah.
It means that should I see reasonable conclusion or reasonable arguments supporting that notion
Yeah.
that okay, the arguments there is no downside to it, or probably there is no other side, that the arguments are just
Yeah.
straightforward and they actually support the particular notion well, then I'm not willing to accept that thing. But for 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 me to just blindly accept something, I don't. I always take every single thing I hear with a grain of salt because, again, for me, if I cannot give arguments from my own point of view, I don't just support something that I don't know. So I always try to, as I'm probably learning about something or probably hearing something, I just go to this neutral point where the only thing that can now move me to actually accept or reject a particular idea or particular notion
Yeah.
is straight out argument, that is clear arguments clearly supporting the particular thing.
Okay, that's really a good one. But right now, before we come back again, I just want to ask one more question. To those living in Nigeria, this will benefit you a lot. Now, what if you are trying to tell your brain, hey, sit down, think about this, but your brain is just telling you, hey, there's nothing to think about, everything is fine, because the brain just wants to always reduce everything. It always just want to give a simple description of everything and just want to always be simple. So now, what if your brain tells you, "Yeah, there's nothing to worry about, just take it." And what if you're not used to? What if someone is not used to this kind of catching your breath? Now, how would you advise a person to develop this habit to cultivate this habit easily? How would you advise? Like, what would be your advice?
The way that I would say someone should, I think, start their mission is, again, like, they need they need to create free time. Like, they need to clear their head sometimes. Then while you clear your head, just pick a particular topic or pick anything, then just try to understand complex topics or complex things happening in society today. Then from there, begin to try to draw your conclusions. I think there is this particular book that I read where the guy make for every decision that he wants to make,
Mm,
will make a table. So, on the left hand side of the table, he will pick all the consequences that will happen should he or
wow.
should he not do a particular, like, should he
Mm,
not take a
yeah.
particular action. Then on the right side, he will now write all the actions, like all the benefits. Should he take, if he should take this action, or if he doesn't, that is what he stands to gain if he does or
Yeah.
doesn't act, or what he stands to lose if he does
Yeah.
or doesn't act. So
Mm,
just trying to separate all the negatives and from the positives.
yeah.
Then if you can do that for every situation like happening, like, just try to get a 360-degree view of what is happening,
Mm,
what the situation is really all about. If you
yes.
can get that in and separate everything, like the negatives and the positives, or
Yeah.
just try to get all the particular points for or
That's
against
a
the
brilliant
particular
one.
thing. I think from there you now begin to develop
Yeah.
your mental model of your mind.
That's a brilliant. I'm gonna use that stuff. That's left hand. Put the consequences or the disadvantages on the left side, then the advantages on the right side. That is a clear thing that we work. Okay, it's a clear thing that we work. Okay, that's really very good. Okay, and I have to start doing something like that right away. And disadvantage is I have to start doing something like this right away. This is how I do things. If I want to do something, I do it right away. So now, and before we go right now to the benefits of Nigerians again, this is a Nigeria podcast. Also doing to those in the UK, USA, and that. So now, but yeah, right now is this right now. Before we come back, okay, now we want to talk about how to choose a career just for a split second. Let's just understand how to choose a career, Patrick. Over here in Nigeria, you don't find zeal in students anymore, no curiosity. People who want to be studying medicine are studying law, financial accounting. People who want to be probably by virtue of their gifts, people who want to be veterinary doctors, probably studying microbiology in school. Like this mix of a thing, like what do you think this will lead? Where do you think this will land us to? Number one, for me personally, I think the reason we're having this no curiosity and nothing, not even in our school system, is because of low degree of self-exploration. People are not actually exploring themselves. So how will you know who you are when you explore yourself? How will you know who you are? So I really do think people don't explore themselves. So that's why they actually mix the course. They don't choose the best course for themselves. The course that will best fit their talents, abilities, gifts, and everything. The course they can better use to change the world. They don't actually be able to actually should I say connect the dots like this. So right now on the point of career choosing. So right now, what would be your advice to such individuals? Like, how would you advise them to choose their career? Like how would you advise people to choose their career? Knowing fully well that there are different courses you can study, but in Nigeria, people will always first choose medicine and surgery. Every child wants to become a medical doctor. Is everyone destined to become a medical doctor? Is everyone having the gift to become a medical doctor? Is everyone having the talent to become a medical doctor? We don't know. There are different courses you can study: radiography, virology, okay, doctor of pharmacy, different stuff you can study. But I really love this doctor of pharmacy to some real extent. That was what I really wanted to go for, doctor of pharmacy. And but yeah, that's my second option if there's anything. After the first genetic engineering, the second one is doctor of pharmacy, 6 years course. When you are done 6 years, and you probably go for your masters or your PhD program, then after that you are giving your stuff. And after that you go work. You can, they say, when you're done with PharmD program, doctor of pharmacy program, you can work in, you can go do your NYSC, something like that, in NAFDAC. Then from there, maybe if you are lucky, you'll be employed there, or this and that. That's for doctor of pharmacy. I think that's a good course to study. Well, people are not considering all these things before they choose. When you are given a question, what is or what are photons? A, B, C, D. You are likely going to think that the answers must be in A, B, C, D, right? You're likely going to think that the answer must be in one of those options. So now I think people are not giving themselves this broad view of things that's available, things that are available to them before they actually make these decisions. I think that's the reason. So what would you advise people when it comes to not choosing the right career? Because if you actually choose the right career, there will be passion, there will be curiosity, you will be able to succeed in it. Have you seen anybody who is successful at what he hates? Like, it doesn't work that way. So what would you advise people right now when it comes to choosing of career? What would you advise your fellow Nigerians? What would you advise them
And
right now?
again, I think the reason why most people, particularly in Nigeria, tend to choose almost similar career is because of subconscious programming by our society that we live in. In Nigeria, there are certain career paths that you take that are celebrated or highly
Yes.
respected by society. So most of these people, they are really picking the careers based on like a recommendation from
Yeah.
family members, or in some cases family members like probably parents, or they are
Yeah.
actually making the decisions for the
The
children.
children.
I think again, in your career, like you need to have like you yourself is only again is this is something like that you can choose for it. This is something that you must do for yourself.
Yes,
You
you
need to
must do it.
actually go out there and find out like try to take a sample of every single career out there, then
Yeah.
find which ones actually interest you the most, that is which ones your passion is actually leaning towards, because it's your passion that will actually guide your mind. One reason why most people tend to fail in schools, or probably we say that they are not trying in schools, is that their passions are not in what they are doing currently. They don't see why they should do it, so they don't make
Yes.
any
They don't make
effort
it proof because
to
there's
take
no
that or
way.
to probably improve in that field.
Yeah.
So I think the only way for if you look at the most successful other businessmen or football athletes,
They are what they do what
footballers,
they love.
basketballers, the reason why they are so good is that they are passionate in whatever they are doing,
Yeah.
and they are now actually practicing to improve how they now actually do that particular thing. So most people now they just simply find themselves in careers chosen for them by their society, or probably by people around them. So again, this is something that you must do for yourself. You need to go out there. Again, there's no real career, or there's no one single career picked for a particular person.
Yeah.
I think there's this Steve Jobs speech I gave in Stanford one time. He said that coming from his past, that he was trying to connect the dots from where he was coming, but in reality, he should connect the dots in front of him, not the ones behind him. So in picking your career, you need to start connecting the dots in front of you. That is, you
Yeah.
let your passion guide you to where you need to be. That is, when I mean your passion, that is, let your interest guide you to where you should be, not probably just deciding upon a career based on recommendation, or probably any people forcing you to that particular place. Because if you go there, probably for some time you might try, or you might not even try at all, but it will only take a while before your interest diminishes in that particular field, and then you are basically
Lost.
just wasting your whole life in that particular place. So again, for you, you need to let your interest lead you, let your interest connect the dots in front of you to wherever your career is.
That's a bless. So a person who actually wants to do this has to open his mind too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to open your mind. and to whichever one your passion will take, whichever one your passion will pick for you. You gotta open your mind. It could be doctor of pharmacy, it could be medicine and surgery, it could be pharmacy, it could be virology, it could be genetics, it could be microbiology, it could be this and that. Okay, so that is just it right now. That is just for those watching from Nigeria. I think that should benefit you a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. Okay, so in the past simulation talk, we said the Garden of Eden is likely to be a concept because when Jesus talked,
Yes.
most of the times he was not always pointing at physical things. Most of the things he said were in parables, were concept. Most of the things were just ideas that he said. And we said that the Garden of Eden is also likely to be a concept. That's what we said right now. So the question we have right now is the Garden of Eden a concept? Number one, and if it is, then what should be the aftermath of death according to your prediction?
Okay. I mean, the Garden of Eden is like this. Is like a special staging area. I mean, like special sandbox
Yeah.
within the simulation where you can try to test particular features to see how, or particular entities to see how they will operate in a select environment.
Yeah.
Like, let's use the Garden of Eden as the example now. So basically, the world, according to the Bible, after the world was created,
Yeah.
again, at the time when the Garden of Eden was created and Adam and Eve were placed into it, there
Yeah.
were still other people living in other parts of the world at that time. But they were not picked and selected to be in that garden. So for me, I think the reason why they were selected and put in that garden is probably God was trying to find out, okay, what happens should we, if we should place human beings, like if we, because again the other parts of the world were still beautiful, but the
Wow.
Garden of Eden was the best place on earth. Like it had every single thing that
Wow.
that humans would ever want or would ever desire to live. They basically had nothing to do, just to sleep,
Yes.
wake, play. So I think the Garden of Eden was just testing a concept to see, okay, if we should take humanity and place them into this very perfect environment, how would they
How would they respond to the
act, how would
change?
they interact with the environment, or what would be the outcome of it? So for me, I think
Wow.
after they were actually chased out of the Garden of Eden at the end, I think one key thing that I took away was where they now caused Adam that, okay, he must, for me, it's not really a call, that where they say that before he will eat, he must toil the soil
Yeah.
for food. That
Yeah.
is, he must farm. That is, he must put his hands to work
Work.
before he must eat.
Yes.
So I think that was something that I think that now was like a judgment based on the outcome of that particular experiment, the
Yes.
Garden of Eden. Because if you notice, the reason why Adam and Eve were so easily susceptible to Satan in the garden is that they
Mm.
were primarily jobless. Their
Yes.
minds had nothing to think of. They were just like
Having
they were
everything.
just there waiting for Satan to come and take advantage of them. So I think
Ah.
that kind of
I,
Eden now is in a way alluding to, like, is for me is supporting the simulation hypothesis, but it's supporting not just the simulation hypothesis, that in simulations there are times when you want to test a particular, like, let's say you have five different models of something that you want to test. You're
yeah.
already testing four of them already separately, like you're testing them based on one same thing. But then
Yeah.
you now have this special idea. Then you now decided to take that last one
Yes.
to go and test that one
Yeah. Yeah.
separately
It's
somewhere to see what the
outcome.
outcome would be from that one. I think that was what happened in the Garden of Eden. Because again, after Adam was cursed, it was not just Adam that now had that. It was not just Adam that had to walk. Remember, the other people still living outside the Garden of Eden
Mm.
were walking. So I think the Garden of Eden was just to test the concept of what happened if human beings had to do basically
Nothing.
nothing at all, if everything was provided for them and everything was perfect. But again, I think the real failure then, I think again, God was disappointed when they ate the apple. Though, let's say he had trust in them, he had hope. He was hoping
Mm.
that they would not eat the apple. Let's just say that he did not know if they would eat the apple, but he was hoping that they would not eat the apple. but they did. So based on that, they now drew the conclusion that should human beings continue in this particular Garden of Eden,
Yeah.
like they will always remain susceptible to deception from the devil. That is, their mind will
Yeah.
always be at risk of being deceived by the devil. Again, remember the Bible says, "An idle mind,
That's
the
true.
devil's workshop." So I think that particular place was what they like. It was what they saw, like what God saw based on what happened in the Garden of Eden.
Wow. Wow, wow. This so like crazy. You know what somebody said? He's an entrepreneur, a very rich guy from the United States. He's from Zimbabwe, but he stays there. You know, he said when he was young, he just wanted to become a millionaire, a young, sexy millionaire. That's what he said at the age of 25. So, so he just wrote everything in the diary. You know, over there in the US, they usually have this diary, everything. They write their stuff, write their wishes and desires, and they work for it. They get it and that. Those are the practices that help people over there. If like they have standard practices there. They have solved a lot of problems. They have main heroes there who have actually laid the path for the other ones. That's why life over there is easy. It's easier compared to what we have over here. We don't have heroes, okay? We just have everybody just want to just live and taste life. Nobody just living fragments of their thoughts while they live. I was thinking about Einstein was alive. I mean, I think 3, 4 years ago, I was thinking about Einstein was alive. Why? Because he died, but he left fragments of his thoughts here on the planet. So if you're not careful, you think he's still alive. Why? Because of the way people still apply his principles. So that is just it. So that is just it. I was trying to go somewhere right now, but okay. So that is the young sexy millionaire, right? The guy. He said he wanted to be rich at 25. So he worked hard and went to business school. His mom wanted him to just be a graduate, okay? So he went there, he studied, he was the only black person in the school from London. He was the only black person in the school, and so he said he was the only black person there. All the rest people were white. So the first day even entered the school, like he was crazy. Like I'm the only different person here. So he was there, and one day he went to when he came to the class and discovered everybody else was just bow. Everybody was just like everybody was tired there and there. Then he said like I can't continue something like this. So he called his mom. He said, "Mom, I'm leaving the school." His mom said, "If you leave there, I disown you. I will never call you again in my life." He said, "Okay." Then he left. His mom never called him, and he went into his passion. And he actually is. At the time I watched the podcast where he was interviewed, he was having $500 million. That was his actual goal before he gets to 25 years of age. Then he gave a very, very remarkable advice. You know what he said? He said, if you are thinking you want to just eat, just reach stability. If you are thinking about stability, that's all you are thinking about. Say you are lost. He said, why? Because stability is chaos. That's what he said. Stability is chaos. That's just what he said. He said when he got the $500 million, like he said, he was just telling him like he have achieved everything. What was the next thing he was doing to himself? He was destroying himself. Period. That's what he said. He said as soon as he eats that stuff, they achieve. As soon as he achieved the stuff, he said the next thing he found himself engaging in is self-destruction, drinking here and there. But he has achieved the stuff. Stability is chaos, just like the lesson from the Garden of Eden. If you put them, give them everything, if they achieve everything, what would they do next? Or self-destruction, or they start to do something stupid. That is just what he said. So I can use that what he said right now. So actually, what he said, what the guy said, I've forgotten his name. See, guy, I've forgotten his name. No other Zimbabwean names, something like that. So, what he said correlates with what you just said from the garden right now. The lesson from the garden, because when God created the garden, there were other people who were also living. Okay, probably that is a simulation. The simulation thought is a simulation that God run for us. Like God had to run to know what could happen to humans if these things were there, if these things were not there. So as probably give the best environment to us. So that is just it right now. So what that guy said really correlates with this stuff right now, the Garden of Eden being a concept and also the lesson that probably God learned or got from the garden simulation. So that is just it right now. That's just what it is. So Patrick, are you set right now? We're going further. Are you set for the next question? The next question we have is this right now. What if we don't see? Now, if you look through different lenses, people have different view from of the world. Like a person here right now may have a different view of the world. The other person they may have a very different view of the world. The other person may have a very different view of the world. So right now, what if the question is, what if we don't see? Do we really see? A recent discovery in neuroscience tells you that the eyes don't see, the brain sees. We were thinking our eyes sees, but the recent discovery says the eyes don't see, the brain sees. There's a proof for this. Okay, there's a laureate, prize content laureate, something like that. I'm trying to record the exact thing. There's a science, there's a experiment that was designed, I think, either early this year or late last year, to prove that I think they gave them Nobel Prize for this. They proved that the eyes don't see, the brain sees. So the question right now is right now, do you have any proof probably that probably we might not actually be seeing, or if we don't see, or then we're in this illusion that we see, it can actually be a simulation supporting stuff to the hypothesis. So right now, what do you have to say about this right now? If we know we don't see, and we're in this illusion that we see things, we know that it is actually a proof that we're in a simulation. So what do you really have to say? Do we really see, despite the proof that science has?
Right. Okay, we based on how the eye or how our different senses work, that is our eye for sight,
Yeah,
the nose for smell, our ears for hearing. The
yeah,
thing is that all these particular parts of our bodies, they are not actually, they are just simply gathering, collecting information. It's our brain that now processes those information into something that is now sensible. Like our minds, our eyes work the way cameras work. Cameras,
yeah,
by the way cameras work, is that they capture light.
yeah,
It is the lens now that now transforms that light into something that actually makes sense.
yeah.
So that I think that is the same way our brains and our eyes work
Works.
together. Basically, the eyes now they just capture light.
Mm-hmm.
It's our brain that now
Transform.
analyzes that
Yeah.
whatever is
The
coming in
information.
and tries to now make sense of it.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's true. Our eyes don't really see. Our eyes is just there to capture the information. Our ear is just there to get the sounds. Our tongue probably is just there to get the taste. It's our brain that now takes all these things together and then analyzes them. Like our brain takes in data, then transforms it into information. So again, over time, based on all these particular things that we experience in our environment, based on people that we interact with, whether around us or far away,
Mm.
or probably things that inanimate objects that we interact with around us, the brain is constantly collecting data. Then now is based on what it has learned or based on what it has seen or what it has experienced, is now still shaping like it has a model already. For example, that is when babies are born, they don't have an understanding of anything.
Yeah.
But then as they begin to grow, their brain now starts building a model. What is this model? The model is what they will now use to interpret any further incoming data. That is what they will now use to
Okay.
transform any incoming data into information for
Mm.
themselves. That's why our perspective of everything is always subjective, because two people don't really, even if they live in the same place,
Yeah.
they are not always looking at different things, or they are always experiencing different things. That's because our brains are interpreting the data that it gets in different ways. No two mental models of two different people can
Yeah.
ever be the same, because our brain always has different data, that is the mental models are always built on different data, probably based on things that we have seen. Maybe you, like, let's take an example for fruits, for example, in a particular country.
Yeah.
In this country, probably their banana could be green. That other country, their banana could be white. So probably definitely the person from this country, if he has not seen that other country's banana, his own mental model would be that all bananas are green. Or probably that person he could just reach his own resolution that all bananas are white. So definitely based on that explanation, our mind is just simply interpreting what is coming in based on how it interpreted information in the past. So with that information that it has gotten from the past, it's now analyzing and
That's a
interpreting
great one.
what we are now seeing in the present.
That's a brilliant one. That's a brilliant one. And but we have something right now. We just want to talk more about right now. The neuroscience of learning. Like if you learn, like everything is just chemical, dopamine, serotonin, those melatonin, those sleep chemicals, this and that. motivation, dopamine, and all those neurochemicals, hormones. So if you really study the human body, you understand life is just all about hormones and neurochemicals. That is just the brain and the endocrine gland. That is just what this life is just all about. If you understand it very well. So the thing is this right now. For me, any course that will help me to always look into the microscope is what I really want to do. I want to know the neurons, like the nerve cells. I want to just know exactly what they are. They say you can see them. I want to see them. I want to know the brain cells. I want to see them through the microscope. I want to see everything through microscope. Those are things that will really really attract me. Okay, in everything. And so far, microscope can be bought. I can actually go for your microscope. Well, we don't still have students who are still curious. Despite we know that you can get microscope for yourself, lens for yourself. I was designing this mirror experiment a time ago. I got lenses from this I think this stethoscope something like that or telescope. Yeah, telescope. I got lenses from there and I designed this mirror experiment. I just carved wooden stuff frame for the lenses. Then I actually got ruler, long ruler. I got a screen that fits experiment, and I was doing it. It was so sweet. I was trying to design, trying to get the focal length of the lens without being told. So those are things that really really intrigues me. Okay, a lot. So right now we want to go into the intriguing part. We are running off immediately soon, so we want to go into the intriguing part of the topic right now. Just like the microscope intrigues me, so right now let's get into this intriguing substance from or intriguing questions right now. Right now, let's understand this right now. Would we ever be able to reach the climax of creation, the highest point of this whole thing? Would we ever one day come to the full realization of what this is about? And when we actually get to that point, what changes could actually occur? What will be our fate when we get to this climax of creation?
For me, I don't think we'll ever be able to like reach that climax of creation because the variables present there are just too many for one to live in their lifestyle in their lifetime. Also, I think another thing that is unique about this our particular existence or this our reality is that the variables are constantly changing. That is, things are constantly evolving,
Yeah.
conditions are always changing. As the universe is expanding, like everything is constantly changing. So for me, I think in a way it's almost impossible to reach that climax because the more you know, the more you need to know.
No.
The further you go, the further you see that there's still a long road in front of you. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's really any climax to the world. It's just I think the path if you start on the path, you will go far, but I don't think you can ever get to the end of the whole thing, like get to the bottom of the whole thing, because there is still always a distance to go further.
Wow. So there's still always a distance to go further. So we will lead the next questions right now to the part three of the simulation hypothesis. But we should still discuss some of them. We still have a lot of questions here right now. So right now we should still discuss some of them. So Patrick, right now we talk about NDEs, near death experiences. What are some near death experiences you've actually gathered or information you've actually really gathered? Any story? Do you have any story about any near NDE you want to share with people? Any story from someone or from a paper? Any story you just want to tell people?
Okay, I don't really have like one particular story about something. I just have based on the stories that I've read. I just have like what most people say they felt or what they experienced
Yeah.
during that whole thing. So I think, well, the most important one that a lot of them felt was that it felt like this out of body experience where it almost feels like their soul was no longer in their body, that they could look down and actually see their body on the floor. Or while again, some still say that they feel this sudden relief from pain. Some say that they heard like otherworldly music, that is music that, like, how will I put it, like almost in a way heavenly music, or probably music that they
Yes,
had never
yes,
heard
heard
before.
before.
But for me, I think, like I said in the beginning, I think this whole near death experience could just be like a reaction from our brain,
Yeah.
like to or from those people's
Mm,
brains, like definitely for someone to have a near-death experience, definitely they must have been going through a lot of trauma. So I think
yeah,
it's like a reaction from their brain to sort of
calm them
like
down.
like in a way simulation, or how
Mm,
will I put it, like a fantasy, just to get them out, like just to push them back from the tipping point or the breaking point, so that their minds does not just break them down. That is
okay.
like, because based on all these different things that they said that people say that they experience when they have this near death experience, most of the things are just in a way, it just feels like their brains were trying to save them, like their brains were trying to create this perfect experience
Yeah.
just to save them from probably their minds dying or something like that.
Mm, that's really true. What he said, like that explanation of the mind giving a projection to actually probably calm them down or just reduce the pain, so that they just go like that and just go into the other world or wherever. I think that's really, that could actually be what is really happening. If you really think into it, that could actually be what is really happening. For some people, they say when they want to die, that's what the body experience. They see their inner being, their higher being, God. They just go into different universe here and there, and that's really to some stuff. Okay, so we will definitely have part three of this simulation hypothesis, because we are not yet done with the questions here. Okay, we are not yet done with the questions here. From discoveries right now, we have science is just, we are discovering a lot of things, and NASA is, we are really trying. Okay, we're going deep into space exploration. They are really trying to discover more details about black holes. They're still trying to know if there are other planets out there and if there could be life in those planets there. And do you really think that we one day, that they will one day find micro life in some other planets? Probably not even close to us, like
Yeah.
far away.
I think it's possible for them to be able to find, I don't know if they can find like organisms, like complex organisms like human beings. So, but I know that definitely they should be able to find microorganisms living on other planets. Because I think the key elements that enables life is water, that is hydrogen and oxygen. These are like, and probably carbon. These are the primary building blocks of every single
Okay.
organism. So I think if they can find planets where all these particular things exist
Yeah.
in the right form, like, then definitely they should be able to find life on other planets. I think based on NASA, they launched a telescope, James Webb telescope, I think about
Yeah.
2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah.
The telescope, it was able, based on its analysis from lights that it gathered, it was able to detect that out there may be other planets that actually hold water. Probably it might not be water in liquid form as we have on the earth here.
Mm.
Probably might be water in gaseous form. But again, an indication of water could also mean that on those particular planets, yes, might be life there too.
Yeah, that's it. And also, there's one where they discovered carbon dioxide and it existed. They're like, in they're so, like NASA, they're really doing a great work, and you gotta be prepared. One day they might discover life somewhere. And when they do it, meaning you have to drop all those things you have believed are true. You may have to drop them. When you see the obvious proof, you may have to drop them. So get ready. The lesson here is open your mind. This is new life, new earth. Open your mind. Anything could happen anytime from now. Open your mind. So that is just ready. So Patrick, this is all we have for this show, for this offline part, the offline show, the first part of it. This is all we have right now. We're coming over to the next one where we shall discuss life. We want to make sure that you stop to be afraid of death. That's the goal of this podcast. Okay, so we will discuss life. Okay, in on this live stream on our channel, we will stream live tomorrow. We are going to really talk about death, everything about death. So for now, we are going off right now. We will come back again to talk about the next part of the show.